And blessed to be with you once again at the historic Nampa Walmart, Garrity and Franklin. Kevin Miller in the morning, broadcasting live thanks to our friends at Team Mazda Subaru, Camping World, the Boise Rescue Mission, and you. You have made a difference. You continue to make a difference. And the folks here at the Rescue Mission are so grateful. You know, yesterday we had a young lady by the name of Bonnie come in, make a generous donation. By the way, I want to thank so many people that have brought their coffee cans full of pennies, full of hope, full of opportunity, thousands of pennies, millions more on the way. Let's hope. We need as many pennies as possible. Remember what they say, a penny saved is a penny earned. And in this cashless society, you are making a difference when we're talking about pennies from heaven. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today's Kevin Miller cash code word is barbecue. Remember, listen at 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. to the Kevin Miller Show for your chance to win up to $5,000, and at 3 o'clock during the Sean Hannity Show. So there we have it. Cash code word today at 6 a.m. is barbecue. Joining us now from the Boise Rescue Mission, Gabby. Gabby, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
So tell us a little bit about what you do at the mission, ma'am.
I am the volunteer coordinator, work with thousands of volunteers a year to schedule them to come in and work with us in our meal services and come in and work with us in the warehouse sorting and helping us process donations every day. It's a good.
So when you work with what people donate and
make it into something that we can use in our facilities. So it's not necessarily monetary giving. It's a lot of time management that we're trying to help put into all the facilities. And we always say that we need your time. We get a lot of donations. We get a lot of gifts of money, but we love working with you and your time to come in and help us in that way.
That's a great point. We had a young lady by the name of Bonnie coming in yesterday, and she wanted to know if, she had some time here in the summer, how to volunteer.
Yeah.
So do you go to the website? Do you call?
Yeah, go to the website, boiserm.org, and you go to the Get Involved tab right there at the beginning, and it's there underneath the Volunteer Today. It's very easy to fill out, very quick, very simple, and it's a good process for us to help us get all the records in and see who you are and get you in there for the time donation if you cannot give monetarily.
Well, and that's so important because there's such a focus on money and this, that, the other. But really, you people show that people make a difference.
Yeah, because not everybody can give monetarily. We love cash donations. We love taking in that monetary gift. But if you feel like you can't really give in that way, this is another way you can give back, and we sincerely appreciate it as well.
Now, what has drawn you to the mission?
Everything that they do. I know that's really all-encompassing, right?
We like those type of answers.
Yes. But we really work to help that one person who may not be getting up on their feet in that one instance. And when we're able to come in and assist them in financial situations or maybe even help them a little bit with parenting because they don't know how to do that because they've never had that love before, it's really good for us to come in and see and work with them to build up a better life than what they've had before.
When we're looking at the summer, what do we need? You're on the front lines.
Yeah. Monetary gifts, obviously, but we also do need that time.
But we're right here at the Walmart.
Right.
And for people that are, getting ready to roll, so they're listening to us maybe passively, is it water? Is it sunscreen? We had a young man by the name of Jack, and his wife said, "You go donate, Jack. And by the way, go into the Walmart." He said, "What do we need?" Well, we got the list here, but maybe you're going to, Winco or Fred Meyer. You want to pick something up, drop it off. We've heard sunscreen. We've heard, socks.
Yeah.
So for the summer, because it's a big drive and really, it's not really top of mind. So while we have you here, you have the floor.
All right. Let's see here. Always men's underwear. Always need that. We definitely need water donations as well. It's going to get super hot, and I know we've already said that, but I cannot reiterate that enough. Definitely water. And then we're looking for like the cooler weather type of food donations. I mean, it's really hard to come in there and, bringing a turkey. So bring us some, hot dogs where they could come in and have like a little picnic as a family. Bring us in cooler drinks. Just working with us to make them, feel special in the summer. If you would use this in the summer, we could definitely use it here at the mission. And
trying to think of what we could do. We've got turkeys in November, hot dogs in July or something like that. But there's always a gimmick, you know what I mean?
Always, always, always.
Finally, personally, why do you do this?
Personally?
You've dodged my question on that a couple times. Very astutely, by the way, young lady. But
I do this because I know I'm making a difference. When I come into work every day, I know I am changing somebody's life. I may not be able to see it, but I can feel it. And that's probably one of the best feelings, because it's very hard to find a job where you are helping someone who doesn't have the opportunity to help themselves.
Well, thank you very much, Gabby.
Yes,
appreciate
thank you for having me.
We appreciate Gabby and all of those working for the rescue mission, with the rescue mission. Volunteer opportunities. Miller's Mission continues at the Walmart here in Nampa. Joining us now from the Media Research Center, our great friend Dan Gaynor. Mr. Gaynor, Media Research Center, Newsbusters. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. Apparently, I'm following up somebody who sounds very nice. So it's big shoes to fill.
We always cover both ends of the spectrum. So here we have it. Nancy Pelosi last week saying he's goading us. And now pressure from her Democratic acolytes. She's going to have secret meetings now. What do you make of it?
Well, I remember the one of the top Democrat funders, Tom Steyer, spent $120 million during the campaign, running a separate campaign from the Democrats in every district in the country to accomplish one thing: impeaching Donald Trump. He's thrown millions more at it. Thrown millions more at it since then. And, this is not surprising. So they're getting it at both ends. They're getting it at the rich donor and the grassroots level. They know their side wants impeachment. The problem is the American people don't. By all sorts of studies and all sorts of polling, the American people oppose impeachment. We already have a nation that's divided enough. Can you imagine how divided we would be after the tumultuous reality of impeachment? But what happened this week, of course, with Justin Amish, saying he's for it. It gives the Democrats cover to say, see, this is bipartisan, because one Republican, who's always kind of an outlier, is supporting it.
Right. And, this is where we see the biased coverage influencing folks. The press has been pushing this for quite some time, and yet the American people are not down with this. They support this president, except if you believe that Joe Biden is the next Superman. So let's go to the coverage of Mayor Pete. Let's go to the coverage of Joe Biden. And Dan Gaynor, the Media Research Center, for years covering the media. What do you make of the president getting people to boo Fox News? Your thoughts on that one?
Well, come on. I mean, the left hates every attempt that conservatives make into any area that they think they should control. They don't like it when conservatives are in Hollywood, and they oppose that. I worked at the Washington Times back when it started back in the 1980s, and they hated us then. Oh, my gosh, conservatives have media. And so they hate Conservative Online. They hate Fox. They hate talk radio. They basically don't want us to have any lever of power because they think we're evil and should be destroyed. So, it doesn't surprise me. And the love that, Beto O'Rourke is getting here, and Mayor Pete wants to deplatform one of the greatest people in human history, Thomas Jefferson. He wants to erase him from history, even though, literally billions of people in the world would not be free were it not for Thomas Jefferson.
Dan Gaynor joining us from the Media Research Center. Kevin Miller in the morning. KIDO Talk Radio. Dan, we take a look at the upcoming presidential campaign. How do you think this is going to play out? We've got debates coming up next month with the Democrats. How are they going to handle 23, 24, 25 Democrats on a stage? Are they just going to say Joe Biden's the clear winner? See you, Bernie.
Well, they scheduled it so it's two stages. I think the top candidates and the bottom candidates, the people who can't make either, they're left behind. So there's motivation. Democrats set some standards. They had to get 65,000 contributors. So you get 65,000 people give you $1, and that counts. But you also have to register, I think, 1% in the polling, and then they're just going to lop off the bottom. One of the things we're watching right now in media coverage is you're seeing the press try to tilt the debate stage to make sure the people they like are on the stage. Beto O'Rourke, he has a nothing campaign, but the timing of the town hall and the promotion he's gotten since then is designed to make sure he's on the debate stage.
Dan Gainard joining us, Media Research Center. Dan, when we take a look at the Memorial Day weekend in June, July, do you believe these Democratic debates are going to dominate the conversation?
No, I think they'll be part of the conversation, certainly. But, I mean, Pelosi's in between a rock and a hard place. If she doesn't impeach, she's going to start to feel pressure from her left flank. And, if she does impeach, that's going to dominate the news until the election. And so I think ultimately we'll see her move to impeach. I think that's been the play the whole time. She doesn't want to do it because she knows it might cost them the presidential election.
Do you think it could cost them the House as well?
Well, I mean, we're in such a weird political era where, because of social media, literally every race in the country now, delegate races and city council races and zoning races could end up being nationalized depending on what happens. So, it's hard to say, but certainly two things, impeachment and abortion put literally every seat in play in the country. And, the Democrats and the media didn't really realize that a lot of people in the country don't like the idea of killing babies. So that caught them off guard. And impeachment, there's going to be a big push. Watch the social media companies pushing hard to get the vote out, because they know if they do, they get younger voters and they boost Democrat candidates.
Finally, we come back to Joe Biden for a minute, Dan. Dan Gainard joining us, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Could the president be in trouble with his own base, considering you have some Republicans that aren't down with his antics and such, the squishy ones, that may have retired from the House, that may have had issues, but they hold their nose and vote for him?
Well, of course, it is very difficult to, even though we've had, multiple two-term presidents recently, it's still difficult in this era where everybody is opinionated on everything. It's difficult to maintain a coalition, and people naturally want to pick just someone else. But I certainly think, Republican voters and conservative voters, not always the same, understand, that socialists are running on the other side. Look at Eric Erickson, somebody who ran stridently against Trump and pushed hard against Trump in 2016, is on Trump 2020. Because he realizes that the danger that the Democrats are presenting at this point to, from a conservative point of view. So that's his push. Certainly from the media standpoint, the press is determined to put a socialist in the White House. And that's what we're talking about. When you have a presidential candidate who is a socialist, and he's a viable candidate for the political party, and the left is now claiming that 40% of Americans are socialists or communists, which I think is complete garbage, but that's what they're claiming. And like I said, they're not making any bones about it. They want to seize guns, not limit guns, seize guns. That was the Beto O'Rourke town hall last night. And oh, by the way, erase anybody politically in history that they disagree with. including Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the founding document, Declaration of Independence.
Dan Gaynor, East Coast Gaynor, you want to give a shout out to your friends in the West Coast?
I absolutely do. I believe I think niece number 4 is home from school, so it's about shout out to all the West Coast Gaynors who are there, and I know I'll be seeing some of them soon, and if not, I'll see the rest of them at the Grand Gaynor wedding next summer. So.
I love that, the Grand Gaynor wedding. Dan Gaynor, appreciate you, brother. You have a great day.
Thanks. You too, man. Take care. Bye.
All right, Kevin Miller in the morning. KIDO Talk Radio time is 6:21. We are live at the Nampa Walmart, Garrity and Franklin. A lot going on today. Canyon County wasn't even close with the vote. Coming up next, are you surprised? If you want a jail, you get to keep your jail. If you don't want a jail, you're not going to build a new jail. Was it that simple? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And help us make a difference here. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. The big news, obviously, the Canyon County jail bond failed. And to those people that made an effort, want to thank Canyon County Commissioner Tom Dale for joining us. And, you really come down to whether or not it was, ever going to happen. It's ever going to happen. It seems that every time the voters in Canyon County vote, the margin of people in favor of the new jail gets reduced again and again and again. In Meridian, though, people are voting, I guess, for a new library or to expand the library. So people in Meridian like their libraries. They like to raise taxes. And in CUNA, I guess that's not going to happen. Really, when you have these off-cycle elections, it's not uncommon for the bond to pass, except when it comes to the Canyon County Jail. Now, we've had the scary stories of releasing the inmates, and we're not saying they're not true. It's funny, I had a friend of mine, we'll just call him Daniel Tiger. He works at the broadcast center. He goes, I can't believe that they're releasing the inmates. I go, they've been releasing inmates there for years. It's just how it is. And whether it's a lack of effectively communicating that message or kind of like that movie, they're just not into you. They're just not into raising taxes. We've had people come up to us here at our Canyon County location this week and say, we're tired of being overtaxed. And unlike the people in the city of Boise, they have a voice and they've said no. Now, the consequences of that could be very severe at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, right? The consequences of that could be severe. You're going to have people continuing to break out of that facility and, say what you want, but those correction officers, they put themselves in greater jeopardy. But I would love to give you an opportunity to join the conversation on that. First, traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave.
Your bouncy boy hit ya.
I'm sorry, R&R. I'm a little distracted here. I was going to you when I was supposed to go to Larry. Good morning.
Hey, it's all cool. Maybe you're just prepared to have Mayor Thomas Alquist finally. Is what's he going to be? Touchdown Tommy, or is he going to be blah, blah, blah? I want to talk truth, so I'm going to be certain. The reason I know and I knew who the governor was going to be, because the man that is the governor has his house in order. He's part of the solution, not part of the problem. So touchdown Tommy, if it's Mayor Alquist, if it is Mayor Alquist, then we'll go to the presidency. But right now, Molly Mormons and little boys jumping around.
I don't think that Tommy Alquist lives in Boise, number one. And Tommy Alquist will be joining us tomorrow morning at 7.
Why does? Okay, then I'll talk to him right now. I testify that at this given moment there are 15 prophets, seers, and revelators. There is one God, one Jesus. There is a church of Jesus Christ. Now, I'm a Latter-day Ain't, enough said. I would love to talk to
You're Thomas. A Latter-day Ain't. What does that mean?
Latter-day Ain't. That means I chose to walk away. I'm either all in or I'm not in at all. There is a church of Jesus Christ that broadcasts from Kuna, Boise. And here we go, from the bottom up, top down.
Now, what does this have to do with the city of Boise and the mayor?
Here we go. Right
Let's go. Here we go.
Here we go. If you're inside of the city limits of Boise, you better know there's police. The police that are going to show up are always going to be the police. Okay? A mayor is somebody who has jurisdiction over the street with the police. And
now, what does this have to do with the Canyon County situation in the jail?
It has nothing to do with Canyon County.
Then why are we talking about it?
We're talking about a mayor. We're talking about
Mayor
the
Beater.
street.
I don't. We really don't need to talk about him.
Mayor of Boise. We can't talk about the mayor. I'm ready.
I don't know if it's worthwhile. It's very similar to. There are a few things that are certain in life. Canyon County will be voting for a new jail, and Mayor Beater will be reelected.
No.
Yes.
I disagree. No.
I predict it.
No.
Right now.
I'll take that bet.
Well, I don't gamble.
You're going to regret. I don't either. That's why
then how can you bet?
I'm certain. I bet. Okay. I will lay down the whole. There will be another mayor. There will be a mayor.
Well, eventually there will be because he'll leave.
And it's time for Tommy to step up. If he's all that, he won't even testify of his 15 prophets, seers, and revelators. He's more concerned about his back. He's more concerned about his career. He's more concerned about not being.
Well, look, we're not. Okay,
I'm
Arnar.
done. I'm done.
Yes,
I'm done.
I know you're done.
Bye.
Thank you, Arnar. Yes. You know, sometimes people wake up on the wrong side of the bed in the morning. Anyway, thankfully, we're on the right side with the Boise Rescue Mission. Back to that phone call at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You know, there are many issues you could take with the Canyon County voters. There's only so much you can do with earned media. There's only so much that you can do when you're talking about voting and doing the right thing. Effectively, the campaign failed. It goes back to that movie. He's just not into you. The voters there aren't just into it. And again, I don't want to play hairy, scary tactics. I don't want to sit back and say, well, this is what's going to happen, because we had our brothers and sisters in the media do that, and that was wrong. Scare tactics don't work. What does? We'll talk about it next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Maggie. KIDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller in the morning. You're home for Fox News. Let's go to Jared Halper joining us live from New Hampshire on the trail. Jared, good morning.
Good morning from Manchester.
Manchester, New Hampshire. How different is New Hampshire from the rest of the country when it comes to this? Is it kicked up a lot, or is it still too early to really get that political vibe? Are candidates everywhere at picnics to wherever yet?
Yeah, no, that's kicked up. And what I was surprised by was the enthusiasm level of voters this early. I mean, it's still 8 months before the primary here, but you know, I had a long conversation yesterday with Bill Gardner, who is the Secretary of State of New Hampshire, has been the Secretary of State of New Hampshire since the mid-1970s, has had 10 of these New Hampshire primaries, has done his level best to fiercely guard their first-in-the-nation status. And I asked him, like, you know, why aren't you guys just sick of all of this? And he was like, listen, New Hampshire has this long history of direct democracy representation. They have 2-year terms for all of their state officials, 1-year terms in most states, in most town elections. So they have elections every single year in New Hampshire. It is always some election cycle, some election season. And the other thing that I was surprised by, so I visited the New Hampshire State House yesterday in Concord. There are 400 members of the New Hampshire House of Representatives for a state population a little bit over 1 million. 400.
Yeah. Having
like
spent
to elect people here.
Yeah, having spent my high school years and my beginning broadcasting years there, I'm very familiar with it. How I would equate the magic of New Hampshire is how most people view college football. They view politics. It's really a throwback.
Yeah, he was like, that's what he told me. He's like, you know, some states have their sporting events, you know, the Indy 500, the Kentucky Derby. This is what we have. We have the primary. This will be the 100th year, next year, I guess, will be the 100-year anniversary of New Hampshire being the first in the nation. They've had the primary longer. It's not always been the first in the nation. That sort of happened by circumstance and happenstance, but it is now, as I said, just ferociously guarded, and they have moved it up to ensure that they are the first in the nation. They have passed laws. They have brokered agreements with other states. They've done what they've needed to do to keep this tradition alive. And, listen, I think that there's some criticism and some fair criticism why Iowa and New Hampshire go first and not necessarily the most reflective populations of the entire country to sort of be the decision makers for this presidential primary. At the same time, he told me we're pretty good at this. We have a pretty good track record here of winnowing the field, a pretty good track record of launching candidates, not launching candidates. There have been a lot of surprises in New Hampshire because it comes down to everybody having a shot. You can't just have a big name recognition and a bunch of money. You have to be here. You have to shake the hands. You got to go to the coffee shops. You got to go to the breweries. You got to go to where the people are. They really expect to see directly, like face-to-face, these candidates a dozen times in some cases. And that's how they make up their minds. I really thought that people would be kind of cynical and sick of all of this, and I was surprised by the level of enthusiasm I've experienced.
Yeah, and it's, if you're a political person, it's a great place to spend a week in the summer or in the fall because you can literally, what's the old saying? They have to meet the presidential candidate 3 or 4 times before they make a decision. That's really true there because, again...
yeah. I mean, in some cases more. I mean, there really is like the joke about, you have to run for governor of Iowa, you have to run for governor of New Hampshire. And what I'm going to be curious about, too, is, we've talked about sort of the surprises. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to figure out what a surprise would be in the Democratic field, 23 candidates. We'll see what that roster looks like when we get, 8 months from now. Remember that President Trump has a primary challenger, and Bill Weld, has not garnered a lot of attention, but he is the former governor of Massachusetts. The media market here is Boston. People do know who he is. He has spent time. In fact, I think he's got some events later today here in New Hampshire. Again, we'll see if he's able to break through. He's certainly not showing up in any of the polls of Republican candidates, but keep in mind New Hampshire has an open primary. If you're an independent, you can vote in either one. Is he going to be able to attract that kind of attention with a big Democratic field? I don't know, but, there's something to think about, I suppose.
Well, thank you, Jared. Enjoy New Hampshire. It is an awesome place for politics. You'll love it.
No, I've been here since Sunday. I've enjoyed it. I'm going a couple of diner stops before I head out later this afternoon. As you know, you got to get the food when you're up here.
Take care, Jared. Have a good one.
All right, take care.
And not kidding, if you ever want to go hang out and just really absorb politics, there's not a better state than New Hampshire. About the size of Idaho, but geographically a lot smaller. And you bump into these people. If you want to go meet Mayor Pete like 3 or 4 times, folks there get spoiled. Predicting right now, Mayor Pete will win the New Hampshire primary. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio time is 6:44. We are broadcasting from the Nampa Walmart, Garrity and Franklin. I want to thank the staff at Walmart. They always, allow us to take over the facility here. We've got our studio. We've got our Camping World camper. It's an elaborate setup, but we're doing this to raise awareness before the summer. It's a little chilly right now, but imagine triple digits. Imagine people that don't have a place to stay. Imagine being someplace and not having enough water, right? Yeah. Well, that goes on here in the Treasure Valley. You can make a difference. And that young lady that just stopped by dropped off some pennies. Tabitha, why don't we put the pennies in the thing right now, if we could do that quickly, so people can hear the pennies being donated this morning. Want to thank that young lady for her kind donation. And here we go. Here's some pennies, everybody. The more pennies, the more dreams come true. So thank you, ma'am, for making a difference. Joining us now from the Boise Rescue Mission, our friend Tabitha. I believe this is your second Miller's Mission. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is my second one working it, Kevin.
Exactly. Well, working it. So when we take a look at being out here, when we take a look at the lives changed, what does that mean to you?
To me, it means more than just other people's lives changed. It's a reflection of my life changed. I came to the mission broken. I came to the mission homeless and lost. And they showed me the love of Christ, and they gave me that water that we're asking for people to donate. They gave me the clothes and food and changed my life. So when I'm out here doing this and asking people for donations, and when I see what the mission does, it truly means the world.
To you.
To me. It's everything to me. My life has changed. I am a new person because of it. I believe in God. I believe in love, and I show that love to everyone now.
What were you like before?
I was not a good person before. I was strung out on every drug you can imagine. I was
Now, what do you mean by that?
prostituting.
Strung out on every drug. Most of us just watch the shows. Well, maybe a lot of people just watch the shows, but, can you give us specifics?
So specifically, I was on meth for 20 years.
Now, wait a minute. You're not that old, though.
No, I am 32.
For 20 years, you were on meth.
Yes, 20 years. I started when I was very young. I was introduced to drugs by my stepdad at first, and I just kept using.
So, for people listening right now, here you are, a woman who has changed, a role model, someone who is very humble, exposing yourself on the airwaves. So at the age of 12, you were exposed to the drugs, to the meth. What does that do to a little girl?
It destroys the innocence of a child. I was exposed not only to drugs, but to sex and a party lifestyle when I was young. So that's all I knew.
So as a early teen or preteen, it was sex, it was the drugs, and it was a lifestyle that, again, most of us really read about or hear about, and here you are, this beautiful young little girl, and that's a tough hurdle to overcome.
Yeah, it was hard to overcome, and I didn't for, like I said, many years. I continued that downward spiral into what I thought was the deepest, darkest depths of hell. My brother committed suicide, and that spun me even farther down. And that's when I become addicted to the needle and not just the drugs. And
Now, what do you mean by the needle?
I started intravenously using. And so...
Like the heroin or what?
Heroin and meth, yes. I was using, and my life was horrible. And I have a 13-year-old daughter, so she went through this with me as well. I drug her along with me on deals and in hotels, and I'm surprised that she loves God now, but she does.
And she loves you.
She loves me. My daughter is my best friend now.
Right. So here you are, these horrible circumstances. And look, I get a paper cut, and I think that I'm a victim. When you go to the Boise rescue mission, what happened? Because, was it a little standoffish at first, or did you sing get a hug and sing Kumbaya? Obviously, I'm sure there were challenges.
There was challenges. I was scared to be touched when I first went there. And I went into the mission, into the New Life program, because I was ready to die myself. And
now, how old were you? 30 maybe?
Yes.
At 30 years old, you were ready to die. Even though you have a beautiful young daughter, you were just done.
Yeah. I had given up all hope. I didn't believe that God loved me. I didn't believe that anyone truly could love me. I thought that I was completely worthless. When I went to the mission, they showed me that that wasn't true. At first, I was definitely standoffish. I didn't want anyone to hug me. I was skittish. A dog that's been kicked so many times, it kind of walks with its tail between its legs. Imagine that as a human being. And that's who I was 2 years ago.
And who are you today?
Today, I flourish. I sit here with a smile on my face. I greet every person I can. I pray with strangers. And that is because I was showed the love of Christ through the people who work at the Boise Rescue Mission.
So for people listening right now here in Nampa, Walmart, Garrity and Franklin, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, what would you say to them as a person who has benefited from the donations, cash to fund programs, cash to fund staff, cash to fund summer excursions? What would you say to them to say, maybe I'll donate at boiserm.org, or even better yet, come by, bring the pennies, bring the checks, bring their gifts. How can they make a difference in your mind?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you to those people. And then I want to tell them it truly helps. Making the monetary donations helps us keep the power on. Most people take it for granted that you can turn on your light when you wake up in the morning and you don't stub your toe on something. Or you take it for granted that you sleep in a bed. Well, we pay for those beds with the monetary donations. We pay for blankets. We pay for the electricity, the places for people to sleep. So that's why we're asking for this. The money goes for the kids, which my daughter, like I said, she's 13. It helped her go through the summer program so that I was able to focus on my recovery and my life without having to worry about how I was going to provide for my daughter. This money helps. The water changes lives so that we're not out there dying from heat exhaustion. The clothing changes lives. I went in there with clothes of a prostitute and I left with clothes of a child of God. That's what your donations do. They change lives.
And won't you join us today? Miller's Mission here in Nampa, Garrity Walmart, Garrity and Franklin, just off the interstate, off the highway. Or better yet, we're here tonight till 7, this week till 6 on Saturday night. Help us, help others. BoiseRM.org. Anything else, Tabitha?
Again, I just want to say thank you. We're going to be here. Come down and say hi. I'll be here as well. Kevin is awesome. Bring us those pennies. Every penny truly does count. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
You're listening to Kevin Miller on your home for Hannity, KIDO Talk Radio. And I'm Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, broadcasting live from Nampa. Hank, if you want to hang on, we're just about out of time. We can take you at the top of the hour to talk about Mayor Beater. Do want to tell you, just as we predicted yesterday, you have two, and for the sake of argument, radical legislators. Now, we're not saying they're really radical, but this radical about legalizing hemp, 13,000 people have decided to attack the Ada County Prosecutor's Office, to attack ISP. We will defend law enforcement, even if we disagree with the lawmakers. That story and more at KIDOTalkRadio.com. We're just getting started. Join us on the right side. Good morning.